The stars stretched endlessly across the dark canvas of space, glimmering like tiny fires in a sea of nothingness. In this vast expanse, where countless civilizations quietly carved their existence, humans were still considered small, fragile, and unpredictable. Most aliens avoided them, thinking of humanity as weak, clever, but ultimately insignificant. But some thought differently. Some feared the human spirit. Chrysa had been one of those who feared and admired it. She was a huntress, known across the Orion cluster for her skill in tracking and capturing the rarest, most elusive prey. Nothing escaped her attention, and nothing survived her precision. She had been sent to track a human one named Elias, rumored to have survived encounters that would have ended most lives. The mission was simple: find him, capture him, report back. But as she crossed the galaxy in pursuit, she felt an unfamiliar excitement, a curiosity she had not known in years. Elias was unlike any human she had encountered. He was a pilot, traveling in a small, lightly armed starship, darting through asteroid belts, comet tails, and abandoned space stations with an ingenuity that amazed Chrysa. Her scanners would pick up his trail, only for him to vanish, leaving behind a small signature of energy that confused even the most advanced tracking systems. Chrysa's ship moved silently, sleek and black, designed for hunting across multiple star systems. She sat in her cockpit, eyes glowing faintly as she scanned the asteroid belt below. Her prey was somewhere within the chaos of rock and dust, but he had already disappeared again. The hunt was long and tedious, but that was the nature of tracking a human. They were unpredictable, inventive, and often, as she was beginning to realize, fearless. Elias crouched inside his ship's cramped cockpit, checking the engines with a calm precision. He knew Chrysa was following him. He could feel it in the way the energy waves in his wake flickered unexpectedly, but he did not panic. Panic was for those who underestimated humans. Elias had survived in environments where oxygen was scarce, gravity was lethal, and enemies far stronger than him had tried to end his life. Survival was in his nature, and outsmarting predators was a skill honed over years of being underestimated. The asteroid field was dense, jagged rocks floating in slow orbits, creating a labyrinth that could trap even the most experienced pilots. Elias maneuvered with ease, weaving through gaps smaller than his ship's own width, banking sharply around spinning boulders, and using debris as camouflage. Chrysa followed, calculating trajectories with a precision only her species could achieve. Every time she closed in, Elias would slip away, leaving her both frustrated and intrigued. On the surface of one particularly large asteroid, Elias's ship landed with a soft hiss. The hull absorbed the impact, and he stepped out into the gray dust, stretching his limbs. The asteroid's surface was barren, lifeless, except for the occasional glimmer of frozen minerals reflecting the distant starlight. Elias inspected the area carefully. There was a small abandoned outpost here, once used by traders long forgotten. Its walls were cracked, and machinery lay scattered. But it was enough for him to set up temporary shelter. Chrysa observed from orbit, her sensors scanning every movement. She watched Elias move among the ruins, assembling a makeshift energy shield from broken panels and scavenged wires. The human worked with a quiet focus, solving problems in ways she would not have thought possible. Her curiosity grew. She had expected fear, desperation, maybe even cunning tricks, but what she saw was something else entirely. Elias was calm, patient, creative. Hours passed. The asteroid rotated slowly, casting long shadows across the outpost. Elias had constructed a small living area, powered a weak but functional energy grid, and even managed to purify water from the frozen ice nearby. Each task, simple yet ingenious, revealed more about human nature than any battle could. Chrysa, hidden in the shadow of the asteroid, realized she had underestimated him. This was not the fragile creature aliens often dismissed. This was someone who could survive anything the universe threw at him. Suddenly, a flare of movement caught Chrysa's attention. Small, metallic creatures, scavengers from the asteroid belt, approached Elias. They were fast and aggressive, attracted to the energy signatures of his makeshift shelter. Most beings would panic, Most would run or attack blindly. Elias did neither. He studied them for a moment, observing their patterns, then activated a simple device that emitted pulsing sound waves. The creatures scattered, confused, and retreating. Chrysa's sensors recorded everything. The human's ingenuity, his ability to remain calm under pressure, and his subtle manipulation of the environment impressed her. She realized that tracking him had become more than a mission, it had become a study. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and undeniably brilliant in ways aliens rarely considered. As night fell over the asteroid, Elias sat outside his shelter, gazing at the stars. His ship was parked nearby, sensors online, yet he seemed to exist in a moment of quiet reflection. Chrysa watched him, noting the way his eyes scanned the sky, not with fear, but with wonder. She remembered her own early years as a huntress, when everything seemed dangerous, yet thrilling. But she had never paused, never admired. Elias did both, and it unsettled her more than she could admit. A sudden tremor shook the surface of the asteroid. Elias rose quickly, his instincts sharp. A small meteor shower was approaching, fragments breaking off a nearby asteroid. Most would panic. Elias moved calmly, repositioning his ship and reinforcing his shelter with precision timing. The meteors struck the surface, sending dust and debris into the void, but he remained unscathed. Chrysa followed every movement, amazed at how naturally he handled danger. By dawn, Elias had repaired minor damages, gathered resources from the asteroid, and prepared to move again. Chrysa tracked him silently, her curiosity growing with each step. Something about this human was different. He did not flee. He did not surrender. He faced every obstacle with a mixture of intelligence, patience, and courage that defied her understanding. Finally, as Elias prepared to leave the asteroid, he paused and looked toward the shadow where Chrysa's ship hovered. He did not panic. He did not hide. He simply tilted his head, as if acknowledging her presence. Chrysa felt a strange sensation, a mixture of admiration, confusion, and something else she could not name. She had never seen a human behave this way. Most would run. Most would fight blindly. Elias did neither. He observed, calculated, and adapted. The chase was far from over, but Chrysa's perspective had changed. The human she was sent to capture was no ordinary prey. He was clever, resourceful, and unafraid. And as she followed him into the unknown regions of space, she realized that her mission might not be as simple as she had thought. For Elias, the galaxy was full of danger, yet also opportunity. Every asteroid, every abandoned station, every encounter was a chance to survive, to learn, and to prove that humanity was not weak. Chrysa had underestimated him, as so many others had. But she would soon learn that humans were not creatures to be hunted, they were forces to be reckoned with. And so, the pursuit continued, across endless stars, through dark voids and shattered worlds, a huntress chasing a human who refused to be caught, not through strength, but through wit, courage, and an unbreakable spirit. The universe had underestimated humanity. Elias was about to show them why. The vacuum of space stretched endlessly, a vast canvas of black dotted with countless stars. The chase had lasted months, spanning asteroid belts, desolate moons, and abandoned space stations. Chrysa, the huntress, had followed Elias relentlessly, yet each attempt to corner him had failed. Her pursuit had become more than duty. It had become curiosity. She had begun to question why the humans fascinated her so much. Elias, aware of her presence, no longer moved as if running. He knew Chrysa was skilled, precise, and unrelenting. But he also understood something about humans that aliens often did not. They could adapt, improvise, and turn apparent weakness into strength. His ship glided through the void, small and unassuming, yet it was a testament to human ingenuity. The next target was a derelict station on the edge of a dying star system. Once a hub for trade and research, it was now nothing more than twisted metal and broken technology. Most would see it as dangerous and useless. Elias saw opportunity. He docked his ship with careful precision, noting the magnetic locks and residual energy fields. Inside, The station was silent, its corridors dark and littered with debris. The human moved carefully, scanning the area for power sources and supplies. His eyes were sharp, his mind working faster than any scanner could detect. Krysa observed from orbit, hidden behind a cluster of asteroids. Her sensors recorded every movement. But for the first time, she felt an emotion she could not name. She was not just hunting. She was studying, learning, and beginning to respect her prey. As Elias explored deeper, he triggered a small alarm system, dormant for years. It sent a pulse through the station, and Krysa detected it immediately. She prepared to intervene, to capture him before he could escape, but then something unexpected happened. Elias did not panic. Instead, he analyzed the system, tapped into the controls, and within moments, he had rerouted the security protocols to his advantage. The alarm was silent. The doors opened. The pathways cleared. Krysa's sensors could not believe what they were seeing. A human, with limited tools and no advanced alien technology, had bypassed security systems that many of her kind considered unbreakable. She leaned closer, trying to understand his thought process. The patience, the calm focus, the intelligence. It was unlike anything she had expected. Suddenly, movement from the shadows caught Elias's attention. A small alien predator, one of the scavenger species that roamed the station for centuries, crept along the corridor. Its claws clicked on the metal floor, and its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Most humans would have fled or attacked recklessly. Elias crouched, observed, and calculated. Using a small energy pulse device, he created a sound pattern that mimicked the predator's natural enemies. The creature paused, hesitated, and finally retreated into the darkness, leaving Elias unharmed. Krysa felt something stir within her, a mixture of surprise and admiration. The human's resourcefulness was remarkable, but more than that, his courage and calm presence were extraordinary. She had seen prey flee, hide, or fight desperately, but Elias acted with confidence, turning danger into opportunity. For the first time in her career, Krysa wondered if she had misjudged humans. Days passed on the station. Elias scavenged what he could, repairing broken systems, creating small devices, and mapping escape routes. Krysa continued to follow, careful not to reveal herself. She noted his humor, the way he muttered to himself as he worked, his ability to laugh quietly at his own mistakes. These small, human quirks fascinated her more than any hunt. One day, Elias sensed a presence more directly than before. He stopped working, his eyes scanning the shadows. Krysa watched as he carefully set a trap not to harm, but to observe. When a sensor detected movement near the corridor's entrance, Elias did not flee. Instead, he turned toward it. Stepping into the open, Krysa remained hidden, unsure if she should reveal herself. But something about the human's calm bravery made her hesitate. Elias spoke softly, almost to himself. "I know you're there. I don't know why you're following me, but you're here." His words were simple, yet they carried no fear. Krysa felt the weight of them. This human, alone and vulnerable, was confronting her in a way that no alien had ever dared. Curiosity won over duty. Krysa revealed herself, stepping from the shadows. Her presence was imposing, her eyes sharp and alert. Elias did not flinch. He tilted his head slightly, studying her as she had studied him for months. There was no hostility in his stance, only awareness. "You've been following me for months," Elias said. "I could fight you, or I could run, but I want to understand. Why are you here?" Krysa hesitated. Her training demanded capture, but the human's calmness disarmed her. "I am a huntress," she said, her voice steady. "It is my duty to capture you." Elias smiled faintly. "Duty is important," he said, "but sometimes, understanding is better." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Two beings from different worlds, bound by curiosity and respect. Chrysa felt the first twinges of doubt about her mission. She had expected fear, desperation, maybe cunning tricks. She had not expected this human to face her with calm bravery, humor, and intelligence. Then, the station trembled. An explosion rocked the far side, sending debris floating through the corridors. Both Elias and Chrysa reacted instantly. They were forced to work together to avoid falling debris and collapsing sections. Chrysa's strength and speed complemented Elias's ingenuity and quick thinking. For the first time, they were a team, solving immediate danger side by side. After the tremor passed, Elias looked at Chrysa. "See? Humans adapt," he said simply. "We don't just survive. We find solutions." Chrysa could not argue. She had witnessed it firsthand. This human, who should have been prey, had become her equal, at least in this moment. The realization unsettled her. She had been sent to hunt him, but now she felt something entirely different. Respect, curiosity, even a hint of admiration. Over the next several days, they encountered more challenges. The station was unstable, systems failing, and scavenger creatures prowled the corridors. Each obstacle required them to cooperate. Elias used his knowledge of the environment, his clever devices, and his intuition. Chrysa used her strength, speed, and advanced technology. Together, they navigated the dangers, learning from each other. During this time, Chrysa began to understand humanity in a way she had never known. Humans were not just strong or clever. They were resilient, adaptable, and capable of hope even in the darkest circumstances. She realized that many alien civilizations underestimated humans, believing them fragile, impulsive, or insignificant. Elias proved all those assumptions wrong. One evening, as the dying system's red sun dipped below the horizon, Elias and Chrysa sat on the edge of the station's observation deck. The view of the stars was breathtaking, and for a moment, neither spoke. Chrysa, the Huntress, felt a strange sense of peace. She had been chasing humans for years, but never had she considered the possibility of understanding, of partnership. Elias broke the silence. "You've been hunting me because you think I'm weak. But strength isn't just about power. It's about thinking, adapting, and facing danger without fear." Chrysa nodded slowly. "I am beginning to see that," she said. "You are different from what I expected, and you're different from what I expected," Elias replied, smiling. "Most hunters just want to win. But you're curious. You observe. You learn." Chrysa felt a flicker of something she did not have a word for. It was respect, yes, but also a connection. Two beings from vastly different worlds, bound by challenge and survival, beginning to understand each other. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A rogue mining drone, malfunctioning and aggressive, activated near the docking bay. It was fast, armed, and dangerous. Elias and Chrysa moved immediately, side by side, anticipating each other's moves. Elias manipulated the station's controls, guiding the drone's attacks into traps. Chrysa used her strength and reflexes to neutralize immediate threats. By combining their skills, they defeated the drone without harm. Chrysa looked at Elias. Realization dawning. This human, small, seemingly fragile, underestimated, was not just surviving, he was excelling. And she was beginning to think that perhaps the galaxy had been wrong about humans all along. As the threat subsided, Elias extended a hand toward Chrysa. "Friends?" he asked simply. "Or at least, allies?" Chrysa hesitated, then slowly took his hand. It was a small gesture, but it marked a turning point. For months, she had hunted him relentlessly. Now, she was choosing to observe, to learn, to trust. In the vast darkness of space, an unexpected bond had formed. For Chrysa, the hunt was over in a different sense. She no longer saw Elias as prey. She saw him as a being worthy of respect, and perhaps even friendship. And for Elias, the universe had revealed a truth he had long known. Humans were not weak. They could face danger, solve problems, and build connections even in the most impossible circumstances. The galaxy remained dangerous, full of unknown threats and challenges. But together, human and Huntress, they were stronger than either could be alone. And as they prepared to leave the dying system, the foundation of a partnership and a story that would defy expectations was set. The galaxy stretched endlessly, glittering with distant stars and swirling nebulae. Planets rotated silently in their orbits, moons glimmered with icy light, and comets streaked across the void like sparks from an unseen forge. For Elias, space had always been dangerous, challenging, and beautiful. But now, for the first time, he faced it not alone, but with an ally. Krisa, the huntress who had chased him for months, now stood beside him. The signal came suddenly. A rogue warship, long thought lost to a failed rebellion, had reactivated and was heading toward the human colonies in the sector. Its weapons were powerful, its defenses strong, and its mission lethal: destroy anything that resisted. Most humans would have fled. Most alien fleets would have tried to contain it and failed, but Elias did not panic. He studied the data, analyzing every pattern and weakness. And Krisa watched him, knowing that the human's mind was as dangerous a weapon as any laser or missile. Their ship, small and lightly armed compared to the warship, approached the system cautiously. Elias worked quickly, modifying their limited resources, rigging energy fields, and setting traps that no alien mind would anticipate. Krisa assisted, using her advanced skills and strength to stabilize the ship and scan for threats. Together, they were an unlikely team, combining human ingenuity with alien precision. As they neared the colony, sensors detected the warship emerging from a nearby asteroid field. It was massive, dark, and menacing, bristling with weaponry. Most would have surrendered. Elias did not flinch. He turned to Krisa. "We have one chance," he said calmly. "We can't fight it head-on, but we can make it overextend, use its strength against it." Krisa nodded, trusting the human's plan despite her instincts as a huntress. "I follow your lead," she said. It was the first time in months she had surrendered control. The huntress had become a partner, and that was a lesson she had never expected to learn. Elias guided the ship into the asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks, creating unpredictable movements. The warship followed, firing relentlessly, but its size made it slow and vulnerable in the maze of space debris. Elias had anticipated every shot, every maneuver. He had calculated angles, velocities, and timing with precision no alien AI could match. Krisa watched, amazed, as the human adapted in real time. A sudden blast threatened to hit their ship. Elias's hands moved over the controls, rerouting power, adjusting shields, and using a fragment of an asteroid as cover. The explosion passed, leaving the ship unharmed. Krisa could not help but admire his skill. But more than that, she admired his calm under pressure. The warship tried a flanking maneuver, attempting to corner them against a massive comet. Elias anticipated this. He adjusted the ship's trajectory, spinning it around the comet's tail, and laid a trap. Using a combination of energy pulses and debris, he forced the warship into an overextension. Its massive weapons fired, but the blasts ricocheted off the asteroids, damaging its own shields. Krisa intervened at the perfect moment. Using her strength and reflexes, she manipulated one of the ship's small drones to deliver precise strikes, exploiting weaknesses that Elias had calculated. Together, they created a synchronized attack, a combination of human ingenuity and alien skill that neither could have accomplished alone. The battle raged on. Each maneuver, each calculation, pushed both Elias and Krisa to their limits. The warship fired relentlessly, but it was trapped in the very system it sought to dominate. Elias, ever resourceful, had created a plan that leveraged every advantage, turning the enemy's strength into its downfall. During a critical moment, the warship launched a massive energy pulse. designed to disable their ship instantly. Elias acted without hesitation. He rerouted all power to a small shield, calculated the exact timing, and used the warship's own energy field to reflect the pulse back. The resulting feedback damaged the warship's engines, leaving it vulnerable. Chrysa, acting on instinct, struck the final blow, disabling its weapon systems and forcing it to retreat. Silence returned to the system. The debris of the battle floated through space, sparkling in the light of distant stars. Elias exhaled, tired but satisfied. Chrysa looked at him, her eyes reflecting both relief and awe. You are incredible," she said simply. "I have underestimated humans." Elias smiled. "We are stronger than we seem," he replied. "Not because of weapons or strength alone, but because of our minds and our courage." For the first time, Chrysa understood what humans were truly capable of. She had spent her life hunting, believing that strength was physical and that the cleverness of humans was limited. But Elias had shown her the truth. Humans could adapt, think creatively, and overcome challenges that seemed impossible. Their resilience, their ingenuity, and their courage were unparalleled. The two of them returned to the colony, where survivors were already emerging, cautious but hopeful. Elias helped organize defenses, repair damaged infrastructure, and inspire the people. Chrysa, who had once been a hunter, now worked alongside him, her presence both protective and instructive. Together, they became a symbol of hope, demonstrating that humans and allies, even from distant worlds, could face unimaginable challenges. Over the following weeks, Chrysa learned more about humans. She saw how they laughed in the face of danger, helped each other when no one was watching, and found solutions when resources were scarce. She watched Elias negotiate with alien traders, solve technical problems, and protect the weak. Every action reinforced what she had already realized. Humans were extraordinary. One evening, after ensuring the colony was safe, Elias and Chrysa stood on a hill overlooking the settlement. The sky was filled with auroras from the distant star, casting colorful lights across the landscape. The colony was safe, the warship defeated, and the people inspired by the courage of one human and his unlikely ally. Elias spoke softly, almost to himself. "The universe underestimates us," he said, "but it doesn't matter. We survive, we adapt, and we rise." Chrysa nodded. "I understand now," she replied. "Humans are not weak. They are remarkable." Her voice carried a rare warmth, a mixture of respect and admiration that few beings had ever felt. As the days passed, Chrysa made a decision. She abandoned her role as a huntress, choosing instead to travel with Elias. She wanted to learn, to witness, and to support the human spirit in action. Together, they became a team unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. A human pilot with ingenuity beyond measure, and an alien warrior with skill unmatched by her kind. Their journey continued, moving from one star system to another, facing challenges, helping those in need, and proving again and again that humanity's greatest weapon was not its strength nor its numbers, but its intelligence, courage, and resilience. In time, stories spread across the stars. Humans were no longer dismissed as weak or fragile. Tales of their creativity, bravery, and determination inspired countless beings across the galaxy. And at the center of one such tale were Elias and Chrysa, a human and an alien, bound by trust, respect, and an unbreakable bond forged through challenge and triumph. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. They had assumed humans would break, flee, or fail when faced with true danger. But humans, led by minds like Elias, proved them wrong at every turn. They adapted when others could not, overcame obstacles that seemed insurmountable, and rose above the expectations of every civilization that doubted them. And as Elias and Chrysa stared into the endless stars, They both understood something fundamental. Survival was only part of the story. The true strength of humanity lay in its courage, its ingenuity, and its refusal to give up even when the odds were impossible. The universe was vast and filled with unknown dangers, but humans had something no other species could replicate: creativity, resilience, and the heart to face the impossible. And with allies like Krisa by their side, they could face any challenge, conquer any threat, and continue to inspire wonder across the stars. The story of Elias and Krisa became legend, a tale of human ingenuity meeting alien skill, of respect born from challenge, and of the unbreakable spirit of a species that refused to be underestimated. And as the stars glimmered above, the universe learned a vital lesson. Humanity was more than survival, it was triumph.